Welcome to Making Waves. This is the ShipRocked podcast. My name is Justin, along with my co-host, Chad. We are certainly honored and very happy that this gentleman is joining us tonight. Please, everyone, welcome Brian Head Welch, author, documentary filmmaker, guitarist, songwriter, and vocalist for the bands Korn, and his latest project, it's actually an ongoing project, Love and Death. Brian, thank you so much for joining us, bud.
Thank you very much, Chad.
Hey, my pleasure, man. I'll be the ghost in the room. I've been looking forward to this episode this whole month and the month before since you said yes. So thanks for being here.
Well, thank Justin you, said. I appreciate it, and it's an honor to be on here. And sorry you couldn't join us in person, ladies and gentlemen. He got outvoted for he didn't win the best denim jacket contest, so.
There can be only one.
His hair was a little off tonight. So Brian, you guys have a lot of stuff going on with this project. Obviously, the new album, Perfectly Preserved, I should say, is released this Friday.
Yes.
And to coincide with that, you have a global streaming event as the album release. How did that all come to be?
Man, you know, this thing came called COVID, and it started a worldwide pandemic. And so it just made all this time free up, and I was at home for a while, and my friends in Breaking Benjamin, Jason Rao, Keith Wallen, both of them, both guitar players for Breaking Benjamin, and J.R. Barais from Spoken, Phineas drummer, Isaiah Perez. We are all just, we got together, and I've been working on Love and Death off and on for the last 5 years, almost 6 years. So with, you know, Korn and Breaking Benjamin's schedules, it's been hard to finish. So we finally worked it out.
Yeah, it's an interesting, because a lot of people always think, well, why are they doing this band? It's usually just an outlet for some of the other inspirations and things you guys have. And also, you know, you do have some time now to kind of search this creative path. Was that one of the things, or did you just have a lot of songs kicking around? It was time to record them?
No, we did have a lot of songs. Most of the record, like 70% of the record was written, maybe 60, 65, but actually no, let me rewind. Almost the whole record was written, and we got together, we brought Joe Rickard in. He's an ex-drummer for In Flames and the band Red, and I mean, these drummers are very talented, man. It's crazy. But so we had the record written. Joe came in, and he co-produced too, and he listened to the songs we had, and he said, we got to throw away these 3 songs. And they were mainly written by me, I think, and so I had to take a piece of humble pie and kind of just be like, okay, cool. So, but Keith Wallen from Breaking Benjamin came in, and he started writing with us, and honestly, he saved the record from being like a good record to a great record, I feel.
The tracks that we've heard so far, man, they're really incredible. They sound great. They flow great. Your guitar playing and voice sounds incredible. Did you guys have, do you ever have any like pulling the punches with Jason when you're like cutting guitars, or whoever's going to do that? Or is all guitars on these songs you?
No, honestly, J.R. Barais, he's the young guy in the band. He's 25. I started playing with him when he was 15. He filled in for a guitar player that couldn't tour anymore with me, and he quit like a week before the tour, or 2 weeks or something. Scott Von Helt, he's awesome guy, but yeah, he was having a baby and had to bow out because we weren't making any money, basically. And so we found this kid online, JR, and been friends with him ever since. And so I really wanted to pull the gold out of him, because, you know, the last record he just kind of he played what we wrote. You know, this time I wanted him to write. I wanted him to add his flavor. So he actually played majority of the guitar. I added my finishing touches on it and whatnot. And Jason played some guitar as well, but Jason played bass mostly, but he's very involved in the writing. So he took the riffs on some of the songs and really like made them just the best they could be, and we all worked on it together. But yeah, it was really a collaborative effort.
That's awesome. And if you're somebody like JR and you're 15 on the internet and you get discovered by somebody like yourself, how does that happen? Like I can only imagine myself being in his shoes and how intensely overwhelming that would feel. Did you know him from? Was he a part of another band? You're talking about discovering him on the internet, wondering how you got there.
So we needed a guitar player, or we were canceling the tour. That was it. We needed one, and we couldn't find one through friends, and just word of mouth. So where did we go? We went to the internet, and we actually found a band that was having tryouts, and they wanted online YouTube submissions, and they were going to pick the best guitarist for their band. And we went through the video, and one of their tryout guys was him, and so we grabbed him. And the funny thing is, this band, like, the band didn't even get a new guitar player because the old one came back, so they did the contest for nothing.
Oh, well, wow. So it actually worked out to everybody's favor, and that is hilarious. That that is
swooped in into the guitarist.
I love it. I love it. Well,
he'll never make it. Let's grab him.
Yeah. Now, Brian, when you obviously in Korn, you do a lot of backing vocals, and you can take the spotlight there occasionally. But what's it like going and becoming the frontman? Was it a little daunting at first? I mean, you've been doing it now for a while, but at first was a little kind of getting in a comfort zone, or was it something you just kind of fell right into?
Well, I mean, the desire came when all the chicks wanted Jonathan, and so I'm just like, man, I got to start my own band and get the attention, And so, and I'm just
well
joking.
Played.
But no, it was a thing where what was the question?
What was it like switching over from a backing vocalist to being a frontman?
It actually started when I left Korn, and I went through a lot, and I wanted to talk about some of my personal issues and what I overcame and what I found and everything. And so that's what started it, because background vocals are one thing, but really going for it, singing is another. And so I really started working on it in 2005. And yeah, so that was it. And I feel like my first main thing to do in life is guitar. And my position in Korn, I've been back for almost 9 years, and so that's my first love. Those are my boys. And so yeah, singing is my second favorite thing to do after. Mm-hmm.
But now on this new record, JR does take over some vocals, so he's giving this larger platform now.
Yep, I'm not the best singer, so where I'm weak, he is strong, and so his voice is really good with the hooks and the melodies and the clean vocals and everything, and mine's more intense and dramatic and screamy, and but I did step up, I think, with the singing, and just I've always been good at impressions, like not good, but just funny with them,
Mm-hmm.
Like Alf. I was talking to Josta the other day. We were doing Alf. Hey, Willie, and all day like that. So when Keith wrote these songs, he wrote the choruses and whatnot for these songs, like the first song, our first single, Down, on the Love and Death project. And basically I heard his voice and I mimicked it. And so that helped me a lot, because he's a trained, like, gifted singer that, he's born with that gift. I'm more of a learner, and I need to learn vocals, and he really helped me on this record, and I'm thankful to him.
If you could like think about who you would reference immediately when you did start to kind of like massage your vocal cords, is there somebody that you would sing along to, like a childhood favorite or even an adulthood favorite, when you started to think about yourself as the front man?
I mean, just like one of my favorite singers is the singer in my band, Korn. So, I would definitely pull inspiration from him, and then the other greats out there, like Maynard's awesome, and Surge, and bands like that, and just that's it really. But I tried to get my own thing going on, and I wanted to have something that was, it was me as well.
Totally.
It can be influenced, but you got to have your own thing. And so I feel like I've developed it over the years with Love and Death, especially, this new record, it's exactly where I want it to be. It's just, the first record was cool. I like it too. And, but it's a little bit, you could just tell it's a first record.
Right, right.
With bands come out, it's like you can hear something cool, and it's a great record. I love it, but when I compare it to this new one, it's like, oh, that's the first attempt, and now we kind of nailed it a lot better.
It's interesting that you bring up those vocalists, specifically, Jonathan from your band and Maynard and whatnot. I don't find them to be, like, unless I'm completely wrong here, classically trained, as we were saying with Keith, or just like the idea of their voice is so, Surge, for instance, is a great example, so uniquely theirs. Jonathan, the same thing. Maynard, the same thing. You hear that voice and you know it. And, like, there's other bands out there that have existed in your lane that, it's not to say that they're bad singers. They just don't have the, as soon as you hear the first word, you know exactly who it is, effect to it. And it's when I hear you say those things, I just thought about that as prevalent as it is right now. And listening back to the few songs I've heard on this last record, you have that. When I can distinctively tell it's you, growing up listening to you speak in interviews, for instance, I can hear your voice in that. And it's a great characteristic to have as a singer. So I don't know if you knew that or not, but you got that.
I appreciate that. Definitely. It's funny. It's like most of us, even when I was a kid, when I heard my voice on like a recording, if I recorded with a boombox or something on a cassette, talking or whatever, I'm like, that's me? God, I hate my voice. It's like so many of us listen back and I had that issue like my whole life, and I would cringe. And now I'm comfortable with my talking voice and singing voice. It's like, it's not the best, but it's me, and I've learned to love me and accept me. So that's a healthy thing,
That's beautiful.
With this record, I mean, it's Love and Death's a band that both fans of Korn and Breaking Benjamin can go to, kind of feel that it's something they're very familiar with. But how do you guys go about differentiating your sound from the bands you consider, I guess, maybe your day jobs?
Yeah. I just feel like we mastered it a lot better on this new record. It's you hear some you hear the styles in there, but it just sounds different. It sounds like its own thing, and I'm getting that feedback from a lot of people, which is very cool. I mean, the two vocalist thing is really cool, and the guest vocals on the record, we have 3 guests on the record, and so it's just I think you're gonna hear the, because the Korn sound and everything, that's a part of who I am. It's like Jonathan did a solo record. It's like, wow, that's, it sounds like Korn because he's a singer. And if I play guitar in another project, it's gonna sound a little bit like Korn because I'm a guitar player. Monkey did a solo project, and that it had some flavor. Fieldy, he's got a Stillwell project. You can hear his slapping the bass a little bit on that, and it's just who we are. So, but yeah, I feel like, and that was a conversation in the beginning. I'm like, look, you guys, I want this to just sound like its own thing as much as we can, and so we focused on that.
Yeah, I mean, listening to it and knowing that you guys are going to bring a sound that's kind of distinctively yours, melody was one of the things that jumped out at me. There's a certain melody to it that I hadn't heard before in some of your music. I mean, there's melody all through Korn and Breaking Benjamin, of course, but this one really seemed to be hyper focused on it.
Yeah, we love all kinds of music, man. You know what? I love emotional. I don't know, like melody moves me emotionally, and like in a good way. And so I really wanted to get more hooky and, you know, poppy and on the melodies, not on the sound, but just, I love like big choruses where you can sing along and, you know, hooks and all that stuff. And like, I mean, Bring Me the Horizon does it very well, you know, and
Yeah.
Day to Remember, like uh, that's a great comparison as well, because they are just so heavy, and I love those guys, you know. But then they just have the most catchiest choruses or whatnot, and so yeah, I mean, I feel like we wanted to do that. We wanted it to be lighter. The first record was a little bit, you know, just dark feeling. And there was one song called By the Way that was on that. I wrote that about losing a loved one and just kind of talking to them, you know, just grieving. And so that one was a little bit light. And I wanted to go that angle more on this record. And so we definitely did it. And doing a cover version of DJ Snake featuring Justin Bieber really helped that approach.
That's awesome.
Well, that's the thing too, is it makes it a little bit more accessible for people. And that's what, I mean, I think a lot of artists want to get their reach as far as possible, without alienating their initial audience. But you mentioned those big choruses. Yeah, it does have that kind of anthem feel to a lot of the songs. And
Have you heard
let me ask you,
have you heard the Bieber cover?
I have not heard the Bieber cover. I've just been really ingesting the songs off the new album, and then obviously the first one.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, thank you for checking the songs out. I appreciate that. And,
Absolutely, absolutely. One thing I wanted, before I get you back to Chad here, is when you're writing, do you write in the perspective of like how it's going to sound and come across to a live audience? Mentioning the anthem, kind of like the big choruses that people can sing back to you.
I really, honestly, don't feel that I do that, like thinking, you know, that people will want to hear this. I mean, obviously, you know, if you write something hooky, but that's just what I like. It's what Jason likes. It's what JR and Keith and Joe like, the writers of this project. You know, it's just, we just love that stuff, and it makes you feel good when you create something like that, you know. And so yeah, we just wanted, like I said, we wanted it to be more like way more hooky and melodic and lighter, and that's what we wanted. And I think that more people will like the sound of it and the feel of it, you know, because of that. But it's just it's what I listen to, and it's what I love. So that's what came first.
Okay.
When you did it's Let Me Love You, right? The Bieber song. Yeah. When you was there a reason why you chose that track?
I really loved it when it came out. I remember he went through all his dramatic stuff and making all these mistakes, and DJ Snake put that song out with him on it, and I feel like it was like he came into a mature place, and you know, I know his mom, and it's just like I was just kind of proud of him coming out of that junk, you know. And I never met him before, but I thought it was a good song, and it was just positive, and love. Like, everyone has a heart for love, right? Whether I don't care if you're a tough guy or male, female. It's like, you know, love is a good subject to sing about. And you know what? I just mentioned how much I love melody, and I love hooks and everything. That song, the melody in it and everything. And so that's one side of it. And the other side, JR, the young kid, you know, he said, I'm going to send you something, and I don't want you to laugh, and I just want you to check it out. And so he sent it to me, and it was one version of our cover. And so he covered everything. It was his idea. He played the guitar. He sang the whole thing. I listened to it, started laughing anyway. And I said, we are 100% going to cover the song, because we're going to make it heavier than your version, JR. And I immediately saw like a female vocalist on it, and some screams by me and heavy guitar riffs. And I thought it would just be fun and funny and amazing, and it really turned out to be a good song. And so we did it, and I'm so happy with it.
And you have Lacey Sturm as the female vocalist on it, right?
Yes, she kills.
See, I haven't heard this song. I was looking for it just now, and I'm like, I don't think it's out. Otherwise, because I love the track too. I'm a huge fan of the reason why you would have chose it. Same as me. And I was like, fuck, did I miss that or something? And I went to go look to see if it was out. Like, oh man, I didn't check it out, and I don't see it anywhere unless I'm blind. I'm on Apple Music and Spotify. But then I saw an interview that popped up that you did that mentioned Lacey was the vocalist on. I'm like, oh, wow, that's gonna be. It's got to sound awesome. You know, just the idea of what her voice combined with your voice, which are both unique spaces, and then the sonics of what you're describing. When does that one drop? Unless it is already out and I missed it.
Yeah, it hasn't dropped yet. It's coming out Friday with the whole record.
Killer.
But the cool thing is, crazy thing is that JR sings lead with Lacey, and I'm doing more like backups, and then I do the bridge screams and whatnot, and I do something on the second verse. So I'm sprinkled throughout, but they're doing more of the singing and everything, and it's really a cool blend, man. I think, you know, people that are like, what, are gonna really dig the song. Everyone I talk to, it's just the production on it and the heart behind it is amazing. And there's just a story where there was, and one of the people that performed it on our album, I just want to keep it a little bit private, but one of the people went through a suicide thing, and they were really trying to love on the person, and at the end of the day they took their own lives, and that song just was on their mind when they passed. And so and I'm talking about one of the performers on the song, and it was really it really ended up being a cool, like a healing thing for them to do this song, because I asked them about it, doing it, and while they were going through that. And so it was just like wow, this is a cool sign that I really need to do this song.
Yeah, that's a very cathartic space to be in, both for, I'm assuming, them and for the band as a whole, when you're healing together, when you're watching somebody going through such deep, dark pain. I've certainly been on the other side of loss like that, and vice versa, watching my friends be on the other side of loss. It can't get any darker, especially in our industry, when there's so many things to be dark about right now. So to have your kinship and brothership and be in that moment together, regardless of, you know, what anybody else thinks. I'm sure it's going to sound amazing, but regardless of what anybody else thinks about the song, that moment is yours, and yours to live with together forever. It's very cool.
Totally. I mean, there's no more of a hopeless feeling, you know, I don't think, or it's way up there if not, but then yeah, just losing someone to that. And so yeah, I'm just glad that I mean, it really was a fun thing in the beginning, and then to have that cool story come in and spin it around for a positive, you know, a positive circumstance to happen like that was really cool.
Incredible. I saw that you have, so with the live stream, I was going to talk about a little bit, touch on, it's February 12th, right? Is when the record releases, and is the live stream event the same day?
Yes, sir.
Nice.
I think, you know, what are the albums drop Fridays now, and then at midnight, and then Thursday night, midnight, whatever, and then the show is at 7:00 Friday. It's also available for 48 hours after the showing, and people can watch it as many times as they want. Tickets $15. Like I said, you know, Lacey's going to be there, and Keith and Matty Mullins.
Yeah, I saw
Nate
that.
Fire, he's a shredder. So yeah, it's going to be awesome.
Yeah,
with Maddie.
if people are, I'm sorry, Chad. I just want to let people know where they can go for tickets for that. Just go to 11death veeps.com. That's Veeps is VEEPS.com. So 11deathveeps.com. You can go to get tickets for that global streaming event.
loveanddeath.veeps.com. Yeah.
There you go.
I obviously don't want to give all the surprises you guys have up your sleeves away, but this will be coming out after this episode will be live the Monday after the live stream. So I suppose we wouldn't be giving anything away by asking this. But with Matt, is Maddie on the record too, or is Maddie going to be coming and performing with you guys just as a surprise guest?
Yeah, it's just performing. He's not on the record. We just kind of connected, I opened a health spa with cryotherapy and float therapy and infrared sauna and some other things, just right, like literally 2 days before the pandemic and the shutdowns. And then I had to close it right away with my partner. And but once it reopened a little bit, Maddie came in and did the float therapy and float tank. Yeah. And we just connected. And then the guy is like a master chef. So he gets like free meat sent to him and like barbecue equipment and stuff. And so he had me over his house and Ryan Hayes, who sang on the track, it's the pandemic. So I was, I'm not going to, it's just hard to have so many people come in for the show. And so Maddie actually lived a few minutes from me and I thought it was a great fit. And he was like, gracious enough to say yes, and that's it.
Can we backtrack to that real quick about the cryo and float? What got you into that, other than just your own health regimen, and you've decided to kind of put it out there for others, or what led you to that?
I feel like it's just barely starting to be known in the wider sense in society, and there's extreme benefits from all the modalities, and it's just more of a natural way to stay healthy, find healing, both physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually. And so what happened was we had a Korn physical therapist on the road with us for a couple of years. He was a friend of mine. I actually got him the gig. And he came out on the road. He got burned out on the road. He's fixing us and healing everybody, And meanwhile, he's like breaking down and just feeling like crap. And one day we had a day off, and when he was feeling horrible, he was like, he looked on Google Maps and found a float place, and he's like, I'm gonna go try one of those things, see what it's like. And he had a 180, and he was like, he called his wife and said, this is what we're going to do next, because he was thinking about moving from his PT clinic in Nebraska and starting something new. And he had an epiphany. He's like, this is it. This is the new thing. And so we just started talking, and I really loved the concept about, helping people and starting a business that could hopefully grow and be successful while helping people. And there's a great market for it, and a lot of people getting into it. Joe Rogan talks about it like nonstop, and he does it. Yeah. He just floats every day, and so that's how it started.
Yeah, I was going to say Laird Hamilton. They all do that Wim Hof thing where they get in the tub of ice for a few minutes and then go in the sauna. So,
right, and so but cryotherapy is that it's 3 minutes and negative
240.
Yeah, it's crazy. I went into it, and I know how it works, and I know the stories, because we talk to people all the time, the stories about how they feel better, and that it takes back pain away, and all this. It's good for metabolism, everything. And so I was like, I'm gonna try it. I'm gonna be a proponent of this, and so I'm gonna be able to talk about it. I get in there and I start hyperventilating. It's so cold. And I have to get out in 2 minutes. You're supposed to go 3. I made it just under 2 minutes. So, and he was like, no, just breathe slow. And I was like, I can't breathe slow. And I was like, open it. And I started going freaking black. Like everything started going black because I couldn't breathe right.
I wish my video was working. I'm like literally dying. I've done the same thing. After the first time, right? Did the second time you knew that you weren't going to die or something? So I would assume that you were like full on like that same mentality before you went in the first time. You're like, all right, I got this. And you conquered the 3 minutes, but right. Are you still kind of like, I think I'm going to die every time I get in that thing? But I love that.
I mean, I'll just be honest. I've never been back in that thing since.
Yeah. I don't think your body doesn't adapt to 240 below. It just kind of every time's the first time. But I hear the secret is to sing a pop song. It's just sing. Get a song in your head and just sing it and get to 3 minutes and you're done. So
Bro, listen, I'm very sensitive to cold, and it like traumatizes me, and I don't know, I just kind of get massive anxiety, and so I really want to use that. I mean, I could do it for free every day if I wanted to, but I just can't do it. I mean, it's just me and cold do not mix. I'll do the sauna though in the float.
Oh, absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. So, can we take a second just to talk about your creative process because you're very prolific. I mean, obviously, Korn, Love and Death. You're an author. You've got 4 books under your belt. You've got the documentary. You got Who's Ever's. Where's the drive? Where's the drive for all this? You just seem to constantly be working. Is that just kind of helping with your healing? Is it just constantly being creative output, or?
I think things are meant to be and they kind of fall into place, but I want to give props to managers out there because managers, like I give props to producers for producing records because most bands that you guys love and I love and people out there love will really suck without the producers to make their record sound amazing. And managers are the same thing. Managers, I have a great manager. I have 2 sets of managers actually. I have Korn's management, and I have like my solo stuff. A manager, David Williams, and he actually comes up with cool ideas. And my last book, his friend got promoted to like president of this um, book. What do you call it? Booking agency that gets people book deals and everything. And so he came up with the idea, and we got the concept, and I love sharing things about my life. And so my last book, that's how it happened. The documentary that came to me, this company called I Am Second came to me, and they did a short doc before, and they wanted to step into doing a longer form, and my my story they really loved. And so they found what do you call it, not donations but a backer for it, and so that just fell into place, and my daughter was on board, and so we went for it. So it's a thing where I kind of just have a team, and I talk to them, and or new people come to my life, and we just come up with ideas of how we can affect the world in a positive way.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's awesome to hear that you recognize that. I know David. I know your manager.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I manage songwriters. I manage Tom Hain, who's written with you. Tom was in This Moment and whatnot. And he's done a couple sessions with you in the past. And David and I have talked through those. That he's a great guy, and you can tell that he 100% gets what you're doing, but also, as you said, understands what somebody outside of themselves might not be understanding about what the world feels and needs, and how you can help fill those voids in what the world feels and needs. And without that motivation, I could understand, being an artist myself, I can understand never coming out of the shell that you find yourself in, because you're like, nobody wants to hear about this crap or whatever it is. But the cathartic version of getting it out, and then thusly watching people's lives change, has got to be incredible. And at your space in size of your career, an incredibly awesome feeling, man. I can only imagine.
It really is. And I know exactly who you are. I did not know that you're Tom's manager. And so that's amazing. Yeah. And my God, I've been talking about Tom and Keith and Jason and Joe, and there's so many people on this project. Of course, on this podcast, I left Tom's name out of the writers and the collaborators on this record. So big up to Tom Hain. He wrote all the music for The Hunter, and then we just we took it and we put our love into it, and put our melodies on it, and wrote the lyrics on top of it. So Tom was very big part of this record too. Hunter we just released last week, and big props to Tom. And also He wrote on the song called Affliction. I think one or two others, possibly, maybe not, maybe just those two. But yeah, I loved working with Tom. He's like the sweetest guy ever. So Tom, you're just gonna have to forgive me because I've been talking about you in every other interview. So I love you.
He did tell me to tell you that he said hi. So he'll love. I'll be like, well, tune in. Why don't you listen to the episode, Dick? Because he actually we're talking about you on it. But yeah, I just wanted to say big props to you for saying that, because a lot of the times, and I understand it, on the other side of these conversations, you're like, do I talk about my team? Because it kind of makes you feel maybe a little bit like. That it's not I don't mean to say egotistically not you, but like it kind of puts your guard down. But the idea of none of this shit gets done without the teamwork, and like period. You don't go on the road without the teamwork. You don't make $1 without the teamwork, and understanding who you are as a person in those deep conversations you have with your team. There's nothing more important than those conversations you're having, whether it's about commerce or not.
And I want people to know the truth. And there's some talented guys out there, and girls, and just people in general. And I'm so grateful that these guys came on board and helped us get Love and Death sound to the next level. And Tom and Keith Keith writing those hooks for those singles. It's just, I mean, Keith just released a song called Dream Away for his solo stuff. And it's just slamming. Oh my gosh. It's all these radio stations are picking it up. And I just, this record wouldn't sound as anywhere near like it does right now if it wasn't for them. So yeah, I want to tell people what really goes on. And I genuinely love collaborating. And so yeah, it's just a fun thing to talk about. It's a cool story, that, we come together and create art together, right? I'm not the freaking main guy that with all the talent. Like I can do anything without my Korn bros and the producers and these guys that I just mentioned for the Love and Death project and the producers, so.
Yeah. Jason and Keith are incredible dudes too. I've spent time with them on the road, and I know their personalities, and I can only imagine getting to know them over the time that they've got to be a real treat to be around making music like that. So it's cool to hear you mention them.
Yeah, they're just great guys, and great to hang out with too. It's just great to talk to and hang out with them.
The great thing about this project is it's not really we call it a project, but it's standalone, and it's a fully fledged and fully flushed out album, and so both albums have been that way. So it's like a perfect circle. It's like it could stand on its own. It doesn't need to be attached to whatever else you guys do. So that's a testament to the talent and quality of the record itself.
Right. Well, thank you.
Absolutely.
I feel like bringing these players in for this new record definitely has more of a oomph behind it. With these names and this talent, it's a step up from last.
Yeah. Hey, Chad, do you want to talk to him about ShipRocked?
Yeah, I would. So my band Wilson played our first year. We played in 2014, I believe, and Love and Death played that year as well. And it was the first time that I got to see that project in its flesh, and I was overwhelmed. This kid from Detroit didn't ever think I was going to be playing in front of anybody to begin with, and let alone on a cruise ship. I had an incredible experience. Overwhelming is like the very most minimal word I could probably use. I wanted to ask you two things really about this ship. A, with Love and Death in that year, I don't know if you had played it before 2014, but has ShipRocked your first experience like on a vessel at sea performing, and how did it feel?
Yes. Oh no. Yes.
Korn had been on. You guys had Korn had done it.
Well, check it out. Okay. The reason why I hesitated was two reasons. Korn played without me. I rejoined their band like 3 months after they played that. And that's right. Yeah. And so, but I did play on a boat with Korn in 1993 before we got signed to Lake Havasu, the biggest party lake in Southern California. And
I know about Havasu.
We played on the upper deck of this boat, man, and we played Blind, and we played predictable, and all these songs, man, on a boat with all these jocks partying around us. It
That's
was
amazing.
crazy. And so that's my first boat experience. The second one was ShipRocked in Love and Death. So it's really my first boat at sea. Or
Do you
ship
enjoy
at
it?
sea, sorry.
Yeah. Do you enjoy the experience of playing on a ship? After all, I mean, at that point in time, you've been on a shit ton of stages, but none, as unique as a boat in the middle of the ocean. Does this make you feel like shit, or do you love it? Like that experience of actually playing while on the sailing, I should say.
It's like when we're performing, it just feels like a venue on dry land to me. It's the other part where you're in your room, and if you hit like really rough seas and stuff, it's like I don't mind it. I don't get seasick or nothing. The guys in Korn did not have the best experience on sea. That's all I'll say. Like the bass player gets really queasy, and but I loved it. I've been twice on ShipRock now. I did once when we played on that year with you guys, and another time was when we showed my documentary on ShipRock. So I definitely have a good time. The people are so genuinely nice and awesome, and when there's not too many just raging alkies. I feel like late at night there is, and I kind of turn in around 11 or 12, but it's really cool. People are respectful, and it's just a great experience, man. I loved it, and I love Danny Hill, and I love a lot of you guys who I met on the ship. Just amazing experience, and then to jam with other artists like on the what's it called, the
Stowaways, yeah.
Stowaways.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that was a big highlight right there.
I got to play with Chad from Hell Yeah.
Yeah.
His first appearance after we lost Vinny, and so that was staggering honor to be able to play with him, for the first time after that happened, and just really amazing. I got nothing but great memories.
Yeah, several of the great memories that shiprockers have include when you kind of took over for the girls doing the washy thing. Remember, as you go into the leave it, yeah, that was a lot of fun. That obviously the event you just mentioned with Chad, but also you guys showing your doc on the to a exuberant audience in the theater was such a great moment for everyone.
Right on. Yeah, that was powerful, man.
Yeah.
I mean, we had a Q&A, and man, my bros from Papa Roach, the whole band came and watched it, and Seven Dust, and some other musicians, and then all the fans came, and I was worried that people are just going to want to party and not watch a documentary about addiction and alcoholism. So
Right.
I was like, are they just gonna? Am I gonna be their party party killer or buzz kill or whatever? But it was really packed, man, and man, it was emotional. I remember Jacoby got up and he just thanked me for being an inspiration for his sobriety and his faith, and he got choked up, and I got choked up, and we've been through so much, and it was such a powerful moment that I'll never forget.
Yeah, for all the partying they do, at the top of the list is they're music fans,
Right?
and that goes above anything. So, and I think they knew it meant a lot to you for that film, so I think they wanted to be to support you as fans, and also maybe friends at some point. So it was, plus a lot of them do run into the same issues of faith and sobriety like you. So it's good lesson for them.
Yeah, I mean, we're all in this together, man, and so just to get together and to real talk, it's good to communicate about tough issues.
Yeah,
it's really important. It's this I shoved everything down so deep and just tried to mask everything with medicate with alcohol and drugs for so long, and it's and I never wanted to talk about real issues. And it's so healing, man. And that's another reason that you asked earlier about, the projects to write the books and to do the documentary. Every time I work on those projects, I feel like I get cleansed a little bit more in my soul. And it's like what a therapist do, right? They sit you down and they talk to you and they communicate, and it heals you and it helps you. So I'm basically going through my own counseling when I do these projects, and it's it's like layers come off of the old and new fresh layers emerge.
It's amazing.
Can I ask you a real quick question about the doc? Specifically, I wanted to know like how cool of an experience it is for the fans to be in such a unique space to, preview something so meaningful and so, like, as you said, cathartic and healing with a room full of people who have 100% been there, for you having the support of those people in the room has got to be an overwhelming feeling, but going through the process of putting that together and the footage that you see inside of that, I mean, digging that up, how it was found. Justin had a really great question actually about this specifically, so I'm gonna let him ask it, but I did want to mention that I have to say, like, that's brave, super brave thing to do, to be there in a room with your peers on a vessel where you can't just fucking leave,
Right.
It's there, you're putting you're closing the cellar door, or actually you're opening the cellar door, and now you have a clean house, I suppose. But I'm gonna let Justin ask his question because it was important, I think.
Brian, one of the things I noticed during the doc, and not only seeing on a ship, but watching at home where you can watch it. Folks, if you ever get a chance, by the way, check out Loud Crazy Love. You can find that on any streaming service. Probably Netflix or some Showtime probably has it as well. I'm not sure what stations have it, but it's out there if you look for it. Worth your time. One of the questions, as someone who's followed your career for a long time, I mean, the first time I ever saw you guys were playing with Sick of It All. It was like 95, that tour. So it's been a
Wow,
while.
you were there?
I was at the Engine Room in Fort Worth, Texas. Yes, sir.
Wow, that's
Yeah,
amazing.
Well, because real quick before I ask a question, because I became a fan because I was a huge Helmet fan, and I heard the guitar, the similarities, but you guys were playing it in a much different format than what Page was doing. You guys were almost turning, it was such a weird take on kind of that sound I already loved. So you guys were an immediate hit with these ears. So I digress.
Dude, we straight ripped off Helmet with riffs sometimes. So thank you, Helmet. Thank you, Page and the guys.
So anyway, my question was this, is like, when you're looking at the footage, and I'm just watching as a fan, I'm not living the thing, but you see some of the footage that was used were some very compromising times for you. Whether you were sick on top of an amp, or you just had, maybe had done something and it just, the look in your eyes, or maybe you just gotten sick, got off the stage. A, how is that footage even found? Who took it? And B, what's it like to have to relive seeing that over and over again?
Whoa, great question. Well, we were just young. We were kids, man. We were in our 20s, just going for it. It was all about alcohol and the party and drugs at times, and then it became all about drugs and less alcohol. But we had a friend of ours that just filmed everything. He was way into cameras and just capturing footage, and we wanted him to capture everything. So we would have it one day, and he was just he always had the camera on, and if it got really crazy, he would definitely put the camera away.
Sure.
But some of that stuff, yeah, we did have, and I think people need to see, because I wanted people to see the contrast of the dead man walking and the new guy living, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And so I really was thankful to find that footage, and it is hard to look back at it sometimes, and I won't watch the documentary anymore, honestly. I've seen it a dozen or two times, and if I do an event or something, I'll like introduce it or stand with the host and welcome everybody, but then I'm gone until the end of it.
Sure. Yeah, it's real and raw. But I definitely, I think what it opened up is a lot. It made you, which is the most important thing when we look at artists, is you made it vulnerable. So that makes you really relatable.
I mean, that was the plan, bro. It was like, these people need real, this world needs real, and my fans need real. And I just want to talk about real life because so many of us in the rock world, fans or musicians, struggle with the same things. It's like, it's just a group of people broken and trying our best, and falling into temptations and trying to get healthy, and so it's just, that's all it's about, for me. It's just, yeah.
Well, listen, what we do, your time tonight's been ultra valuable to us, and thank you again for giving us this hour. And I can't wait for our audience to hear it. But what we'd like to do with these is end it on a thing called Walk the Plank, which is just basically 3 random questions, one from myself, one from Chad, and one we've taken from a fan. And they don't relate to music in any way, shape, or form usually. So just a random question. So would you mind playing?
Let's do it.
All right, but Chad, you want to go first?
I'm going full video. I'm gonna see if it'll last. How long it'll last, because this is like a monument. This is a monumental moment for me as Justin said, huge fan from day one. So I'm gonna ask you just a simple question. In your perspective, what's the most significant problem that the world is facing moving forward? And I'm not just talking about COVID or something. I'm talking about just as people. What do you find us being so far apart on?
Division. Division is the cancer of our society, and it's just like, it's just so horrible, where people they have different views, and then they just hate each other over it, whether it's politics or race or just whatever. There's all kinds of issues out there, and we just need to learn to accept each other's differences and respect one another. And where I follow Christ, and it's to love your enemies. And I see all these Christians out there spewing hate and judgment on people, and it's just like, it makes me sick, man. And so I think division is the number one problem.
I 100% agree.
I would say couldn't agree more. That seems to be the number one crux for everyone. All right, Brian, my question is this: what remains undone that you've wanted to get done for years?
That's a great question. Stupid email. Let me turn off my emails.
That email, that's the answer.
There you go. Yeah, answering that email.
I mean, I don't know if it's going to be profound or nothing, but I'll just say 2, because it's the only thing I could think of. Tattoo on my back. It hurts so bad. I'm traumatized by it. It's like the cryotherapy. I'm like, I won't go back to it. Tattoo on my back, and also my house that I bought right before COVID. And so I've had a year to stay at home mainly and finish it, and I still haven't finished it. So my house and my tattoo.
Okay, so
You
back
got to finish the tattoo. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
Was that the question? A project?
No, that's the question. Yeah, no, listen, it doesn't have to be profound. It can be something as like, I really wish I would have cleaned out the garage this weekend. I really wish I should have got that done. So it could have been that answer. So, Chad, you want to ask the fan question if you don't mind?
Yeah, pretty easy, but could be also a curveball here. If you owned a boat, Brian, what would you choose to name it?
Whoa. Wow.
Yeah.
That's hard. The Overcomer.
Ooh, I love it.
Dude,
heavy.
that smokes.
That's heavy.
Good.
Yeah.
Because, so our boats, what's a couple boat names? Like
Well, there's the SS Minnow, which unfortunately got lost in with its crew many years ago.
The Titanic.
The Titanic, yeah.
oh yeah,
Bismarck.
Yeah, so the in front of it is actually right in line with the
Absolutely.
mainstream. So yeah, the Overcomer I think would be good because it symbolizes my life and symbolizes a boat going, ship going into the sea and overcoming the strong storms and whatnot.
Yeah, the swells. Yeah,
The-
yeah. You can get real swell, but you got a boat that will overcome it. That's a great answer. Well, thanks, man.
All right.
That was
Thanks.
you heard that? The Overcomer fan.
Well, listen. Okay, guys, let's just keep in mind here.
Man.
This Friday's a new Love and Death album, Perfectly Preserved. Check out some of the songs available right now, including the newest one, Hunter, and you can get Down as well. And I think White Flag is also available for people to check out. Check that out. Obviously, you want to on the same day at 7:00. I think that might be Eastern. Go ahead and go to loveanddeath.veeps, veeps.com, loveanddeath.veeps.com. Pick up tickets for this global live streaming events for the release of the new album. And that, again, is Friday. Listen, I know we've got no crystal ball here, but are your plans to take this on the road when touring becomes available, or are you going to have to kind of see what's going on with Korn?
Well, I think it's 7 p.m. Central Time, actually. But
Central.
we're
Okay,
talking to Metallica about opening for us. We're going to do a stadium tour, and I don't know if they're free, but we're talking to Lars and the guys, and
Lars would like to. Yeah, Lars would like to be done by 9. He's got stuff.
Yeah, you're right. So it depends, man. This COVID thing is crazy. There's so many bands that want to get out, and if it opens up, when it opens up, sorry, if we have a demand, if we have some inquiries and invites, and we can get an invite from our friends bands to open for them, that would be awesome to go out on the road. And so yeah, it's just time will tell. I know as much as you guys as far as how it's going to happen, when it's going to happen, and if we can make the finances work, all that, there's a bunch of factors in it.
Yeah, we'd be remiss if we didn't ask what's going on with Korn. You guys, everything's kind of just low key right now, or do you guys have something planned coming up?
We've been getting together and throughout last year and working, talking and emailing and all that stuff. So there's a couple of different roads we could take with the band, with the way things are in the world right now. And our management told me that I'm allowed to say that we're working on an announcement, and we're going to announce some cool news coming out pretty soon. And we got some cool projects that are going to be unique. And we're just going to go for it and make the best out of this
I love it.
situation.
Well, listen, the world needs Korn, the world needs Love and Death, the world needs Breaking Ben. So hopefully we can all get all of those acts and everyone else out on the road and getting back to the fans and doing what y'all love and what we love to hear. So thank you again, Brian.
Yes, sir. Thank you, guys. I appreciate the props and everything, and in following Korn and whatnot throughout the years. So thank you for.
Absolutely. Before we let you go, we got to say thank you to our audience tonight. A little housekeeping. Guys, if you're still interested in going into ShipRocked 2022, which will be sailing in January, tickets are still remaining for cabins at ShipRocked.com. You can also go to ShipRocked.com for merchandise. And if you guys follow us, please subscribe to us and let your friends know. And, we want to get this out to as many people as possible. And again, guys, we couldn't make this show happen without our producer, Al McManus, our engineer, Jennifer Zito, our show coordinator, Heather Smith, and of course, the captain, Alan Koenig. Thank you to my host, Chad, and my name's Justin. And again, once again, Brian, head Welch from Love and Death and Korn. So thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.